Hello viewers, again this is Lucy Mworia of Lucy Mworia Network. Good morning once again, and thank you so much for supporting our new network. Thank you for subscription, thank you for watching, thank you for liking, thank you for comments, and we are growing real fast, so I thank you so much. If you have not subscribed, please do so. Subscribe now so that you don't miss any of our videos. Today we have a guest, a very, very serious guest. Like I told you, I'll bring people from different sectors, from different places who are going to share you much today with us. Tuko naye aliyekuwa mbunge wa Mwatate wa Udanyi ambaye ni Thomas Mwandegu. Mwandegu was born in Taita, and Mwandegu is a university graduate with a BCom accounting option and with a lot of work experience. He has worked in the sector of banking. He has been with Central Bank. He has worked for Industrial Bank of Kenya. He has worked with the Housing Finance Company of Kenya. He has become the Member of Parliament 10 years of Udanyi. Member of Parliament Udanyi for 10 years, and after that he tried being the senator or the governor of Taita in 2017, and he wasn't successful. He did not give up. 2022, again he tried the senator of Taita, and now here today he tells us he's a farmer in Taita. Welcome, Mheshimiwa Mwandegu.
Thank you, Madam Lucy, and it's a pleasure to be with you in this show. And here I am trying to see what I can offer to the viewers, and we have a discussion on our experiences, which is an accumulation of mistakes people make from the time they were born up to now. That's what I call experience. I'm
glad you said from the time you were born, because I tell these viewers all the time, aging is not old. No. Aging is a process from when you were born, you continue aging until where we are now. Right. So, Honorable Mwandegu, can you tell us your story in brief? Besides what I've said, I know maybe there are things I've not said. Tell us about you.
Well, as you have clearly said, having been brought up in Taita, went to secondary school down at the coast, came to the University of Nairobi, and started work with the Central Bank of Kenya, then moved to Industrial Development Bank, then moved to Housing Finance as the financial controller, then did a stint of World Bank project at KWS. Then I moved to Mombasa as the group financial controller of the Ocean Freight, subsidiary of Mediterranean Shipping Company for 8 years. From there, I jumped to go into politics. And I tried politics for the first time in 2008, and I was elected an MP for Udanyi constituency. And I became an MP for 10 years. 2013, I went back to vie again, and I was re-elected. And I became the whip, minority whip in Parliament under ODM. And in 2018, I decided to try the gubernatorial seat for the county of Taita Taveta. I was not successful. I was appointed as a director of Unclaimed Financial Assets Authority. I did it till 2022. I resigned to go and try the senatorial seat in Taita. I was not successful. And here I am doing two things. I run a small audit farm in Mombasa. At the same time, I do farming, both in Taita and Kikambala.
Wow.
Now, I'm a married man, 5 children, 1 daughter, 4 sons. They're all grown-ups, my wife. And here I am enjoying what God has offered to me up to this time.
Wow, that is Mwandegu.
That's
from
me.
Taita.
From Taita.
From working from the banking sector, jumping to politics.
Right.
So, Mwandegu, what is it that really motivated you and good life, good career, changing to coming to politics of Taita?
I think there's only one item that motivated me to go into politics. In the first instance, I hated politics throughout my working career. But there's one habit we had with my wife. Whenever we went home, if we found a young man who was just finished his standard 8 or 7 and does not have school fees, or a lady, would take him or her to school as part of our contribution to society. Then one day a friend of mine came and told me, look here, whatever you are doing with your meager resources. You can do it better with the CDF. I said, what? Yes. And went through. And he told me, you can impact on the society. Take more children to school, right? When you are a parliamentarian. And that's what motivated me. So I left my job, went, vied for a seat, and I got elected.
First time?
First time. And my priority was to take children to school. Secondary school through CDF, university, and teacher training colleges. Pura Teacher Training College had very many students under my sponsorship. And I've never looked back to regret why I went to politics.
Wow.
Right? There were challenges, I must admit. There are areas I thought I would do well in the water sector at that time. There are areas I thought I would do well in farming, helping people here and there. Roads, the infrastructure in Taita, especially in my constituency, is bad, and I'm aware of it. But how much resources do you have at your disposal as a member of parliament to undertake those projects? So I tended to concentrate more on students than anything else.
So now that you mentioned the CDF is Community Development Fund.
Right.
And I'm sure when it's a Community Development Fund, it's not just about education, but you took it personal because education was so dear to you. Are there other projects you could have done with CDF?
Oh, yes. You see, under the CDF, you would use a particular percentage for school fees. It's not the entire amount. I did secondary schools. I did part of Makibibi, secondary school. I did Ngoloki Girls from the scratch. I did Makshimba Secondary School. I did Mwandegu Secondary School in Sirienyi. I gave money to PJ Mongola, and I built a very big office, CDF office in Bundanyi. All those are structures that are still there, and unless one demolishes them, they will live to be there. I did one of the largest technical schools in Mugambonyi, and it's still there.
That's all about education.
That's all about education.
So, since again it's CDF, Community Development Fund, did you have any programs for the elderly, for the older people in the Taita community?
You'll agree with me, we had very little funds left for the elderly. So for me to say that we did this for the elderly, the best we could have done was to provide them with water, so that they had water in their old age. That one we did. But doing anything to improve on the elderly, I must admit, that's one area that hardly people pay attention to, right? It is only later on you start realizing, look here, I'm out there as an elder. These facilities ought to have been there, right? But I dare mention, we did health centers. They are helping the elderly, right? Though they have to be stocked with pharmaceutical products. If they are not there, then the same elders will suffer. So I would imagine when you say, did we do anything for the elders, it is whether we did anything that will help them generate income for their old age.
Because like you're telling us now, there's a difference between having property and solid cash.
Well, as an accountant, I will tell you one thing. Most of people who have retired, me being one of them, their biggest challenge is liquidity, cash. They may have shambas, they may have properties in Karen, Westlands, and what have you. But can they convert that into liquid cash when the need arises instantly?
No.
They cannot. And the kind of mixture most people have tended to have in their portfolio of assets is properties. So they may be having houses, they may be having shambas, they may be having motor vehicles. For sure they are rich by any standards. But how liquid are they?
So as a young man, when you worked through your career, all these careers you've gone through, is there a time you sat down and said, now I am planning for my retirement? And if you did, how did you plan for your retirement, Mwandegu?
Well, there are various ways of looking at that same question.
I'm talking about you
Now, me as
an
Mwandegu,
yes.
my retirement was based on 3 facets. One, when you retire, do you have a home where you're not paying any rent?
But at least you thought about it.
Yes.
You thought about having a home is important.
It's important to have a place you can live, like where we are right now. Is the owner paying rent? Where I am right now, am I paying rent? You can imagine at my age, having somebody knocking at my door, he wants his rent. I'll not have it. So one of the things that I would encourage all people who are working, including the young men, make sure that you have a home. You have a place where when you retire, you are not going to pay any rent.
So part of yours, you made sure you have a home.
I have a home.
Anything else you did as a plan, part of planning for your retirement?
Right. One of my planning was to calculate my pension. What is it that I'll require to survive on? What is the quantum that I require? Do I need 200,000 shillings a month to survive? If I do, how do I get it? How do I build that one? To be able to survive on that one. 3, how do I get my food? Do I have my shamba where I can make sure that I cultivate my own food? Oh, for sure I do. I don't want to depend on anybody to bring food to me.
So your food comes from your shamba?
I like to take food from my shamba.
And you have it?
I have it. And I'm grateful to God. I'm not bragging, but I'm grateful to God. 1, do you have bananas? 2, do you have maize? 3, do you have chicken? You may not have money to buy the meat, the beef and the goats and what have you.
But you can keep a few chicken.
But you can keep a few chicken. Do you have it? If you don't
have it?
Yes, if you don't have it, you are in trouble. Take it from me.
Do you have it?
I do. At least siwezi kosa kuku zangu 2, 3, 4 za kuchinja. All right?
Yes.
Now, however, even when you have it, the question arises, who looks after them? You need money, you need to pay somebody to look after whatever you have.
So solid cash is important.
It's important. And the more widespread your assets are, the more difficult it will be for you to manage them at old age. You may have the assets. Like, let me give an example. You have a shamba in Nakuru, you have a shamba in Malindi, you have a shamba in Loitoktok. Who is going to manage them for you? And they may not be big enough for them to be of economic use.
You're just buying plots.
You're buying
because they are being sold.
Because
you have money that time.
At that time. So who is going to manage them for you? So when you look at retirement, I wish young people right now can look at it slightly differently. We are all heading there. In fact, retirement starts from the day you are born. That's when you start retiring.
Retirement starts from the day you are born. Just like aging starts from the day you are born.
Right?
Yes.
Because you'll grow up. After a particular point in time in your life, you may think of settling down and starting a family. That is a long-term commitment. You don't want to leave it midstream. When God has blessed you with children, you've got to bring them to school. They have to go to school. They have to eat. They have to do other activities. You cannot stop it midstream. So where is the money coming from? From your employment. Right? Anything disrupting your employment affects your children, affects your wife, or affects all the spouses you have.
All the spouses.
Yeah, for those people who don't believe in monogamy, they believe in polygamy, they have spouses. So whatever they do, at the end of the day, whatever income they have, right, if they lose a job, it impacts negatively on the families.
Our viewers, if you have not subscribed to our channel, again, just go click on subscribe at the red button and be part of this so that you don't miss our shows that We download like at least 2 times a week, and they're very educative, very inspiring. Mr. Mwandegu, now that the flow of monies is not there anymore in Taita, you know, when you are a member of parliament, mheshimiwa ameingia, akona mapesa, akona
kila kitu,
inaitwa allowance, kila kitu, watu hata wanaimba nyimbo wakikuona. Now that all those things are not there, and remember, before you became member of parliament, you wanted to help people of Taita. So did you just leave them, or are you helping them like before? What are you doing? Are they still coming to you for their help and advice and all that? Is it the same?
The truth of the matter is that people don't change. They are used to seeing you as a member of parliament. They are used to seeing you as a leader. They will continue coming. So they will continue streaming in. The only difference is that the number is not as it used to be, right? So you thank God that there are people who still feel you can help them, right? Unfortunately, for most of us Kenyans, associate leadership with the resources.
Oh.
Oh yeah. If you are a leader and you have no money, people tend to question, what kind of a leader are you? Unfortunately, that is the position. So mpaka sasa watu bado wanaendelea kuja kukuambia, mtoto wangu amefukuzwa shule, babangu ni mgonjwa yuko hospitali, naomba unichangie hiki, kanisa litakuja linahitaji hii na hii na hii, tunaomba uje uwe mgeni wa heshima. Lakini hakuna hata mmoja atakayejiuliza hiyo hela yote ambayo anaiomba inatoka wapi. Hamna. Watu wanatarajia kuwa you made your money when you are an MP. Were you supposed to make money when you are an MP? That's $1 million question. If you went to parliament to make money, that's a different ball game. You'll make money. But for people like us, we went there not to make money, but to help the society. So you use both the CDF money and you use your personal resources to make sure that people change their lives. So they still come. But take it from me, you cannot help them the way you used to help them, because that income is not there. You don't have that cash.
So you think there are challenges that you are not receiving that hefty salary of member of parliament, those allowances, those benefits that come with it, they are not there anymore. What are the challenges?
The challenges
even your own expectation, your own perception of life. You now as Mwandegu.
For sure the challenges are there. One, you are used to a particular lifestyle. Do you maintain it? You feel you are duty bound to maintain it. You feel your ego should maintain it. Can you maintain it? Yes or no? If you have reasonable pension, you'll be able to maintain it. But one of the biggest challenges most retirees have, and let me actually stick to members of parliament. When you go to parliament, immediately you get in, you are entitled to a medical cover of 10 million.
Wow.
10M. You, your wife, and children below 18, all those ones who are still students.
10 million?
10M. It's automatic. The day you are sworn in, it's automatic. The day you stop being an MP, you move from 10 million to 0. Now, that is the time when you need medical cover. Because first of all, your age has progressed, right? You start getting elements which are not there when you are in your 30s, when you are in 40s, you are in your 50s, your body metabolism has changed. So that's when you really require medical facilities. But you are at 0. At that time, most insurances will not wish to give you a cover. And if they give you a cover, the premiums will be very high. So where do you expect to get that money from? The only cover you have is the NHIF cover, which is very good. I must applaud the government for ensuring that.
For parliamentarians?
No. NHIF cover is for everybody. So when you cease being an MP, you join the other lot. After all, you are not a citizen, aren't you? So you continue with your NHIF cover.
But I hear a lot of people complaining about it, that actually it's not enough, it's not functionable, it's not, or maybe it is working for members of parliament.
No, 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 no.
Tell us about that cover.
NHIF cover, the ordinary cover, functions so long as you have continued paying your 500 shillings per month and you have a designated hospital where you are supposed to.
But can it take you to India? Can it take you to other places like you used to go before?
No. There are certain areas which are not covered, right? But what did we do as members of parliament when we were confronted with that problem? We realized that here we have a big problem. A big problem. And we realized it and we accepted it.
Yeah.
So we formed an association. We call it FOPA.
For you, the parliamentarians.
For we, the parliamentarians.
Those who lost.
Those who lost and those ones who didn't want to come back. There are people who ran for a parliamentary seat for 10 or 15 years. Thereafter, they say they are not interested in continuing for one reason or another. So we realized that we are at zero, from 10 million to zero. So what did we do? We formed an association. We call it FOP, former members of parliament. And we invited our colleagues to join. And we joined as an association. And we negotiated a package with the NHIF, just like the civil servants negotiated a package with NHIF, the super service. So we have one for all former members of parliament. For those ones who have joined the association. And it is on scales. You can be on scale 1, which is up to about 1 million, scale 2, 2 million, scale 3, I think 3 million, scale 4, I think 5 million, scale 7, I think 7 million.
Mheshimiwa, that is for the parliamentarians, and you are saying there is also for other civil servants.
Yeah.
The people who have ever worked for the government or being parliamentarians, with the population of Kenya, they are like 20%.
Exactly.
There is the other 80% which has never worked for anybody, who don't even understand about this in group buying. How would they, do you think now, if you are to talk to them or to talk, what would you tell them?
How do you encourage people to go for group buying? Because insurance thrives on numbers. The more you are, the lesser the risk.
So which groupings? You know, like you say, the Matatu group, or what do you, which, yours is an identified group.
Yeah.
The other people who have ever worked for the government. So how do the 80% of the Kenyans, the population that never worked for any grouping, how do they get this medical cover?
I can assure you, even the border borders, it's a very good group. If they came together as a group, it is a registered group, the border borders. Can they go and negotiate for a package for them? So long as they are disciplined in paying their NHIF, they will be registered and they will participate. The farmers, you go to any village, those people have groups. Go to the chamas. You women are very fond of going to your chamas at the end of every month, and you do it religiously. Ukikosa kwenda, unakatwa fine. Now, those chamas, have they negotiated for medical covers?
Do they know when how to negotiate about it? Do they know who is supposed to look for them? Is it the women group or the NHIF?
No, I think it should be both. It should be both. To me, if you are coming together as a group, you must be having a purpose. Why are you coming together as a group? What is your motive? What is your agenda? What is your objective? And one of the objectives, as far as I'm concerned, should be two. There was a lady I was listening to in one of the programs in KTN, and she was saying they are inviting anybody who has been working either with the parastatals or in business and what have you, to go and register with them, and they will help them get a medical cover, not necessarily NHIF, with an insurance company, because without that cover, actually you are in problems. Nowadays, you lose a family member, mnaenda kwa WhatsApp group, mnaanza kuchangiana. There are covers that will help you at least raise the first 100,000 shillings. Oh. They are there.
So we are about to wind up now. I would like you to look at the camera and talk to the government of Kenya and tell them what you think they should do to help those people who are retiring today. The other group is that I would like you to advise the people who are working for the government, the member of parliament, or other people in positions, those chairmans and those other groups, tell them, talk to them, and advise them on how to prepare themselves on retirement.
You see, it's difficult to talk about retirement and advise those people on retirement, given that the word retirement itself gives the impression you are retiring from something. You are retiring from what? From work? No. You are changing from one form of employment to another because you continue doing your jobs. I'm an accountant, I still go to the office. I still go to my audit firm, right? I look at the financial statements, right?
Yeah.
I still go to my shamba. So what have I retired from? When you say Mwandegu is a retired man, retired from what?
Mwandegu is an aging man.
Mwandegu is an aging man. He's over 60, so he's moving on with other areas of life.
How can you advise that in group which is changing, transiting from this group to the next, to the next?
Right.
Because aging is a process.
Okay, I'll advise them to ensure that they plan to make sure that they are capable of feeding themselves. To me, if you don't have shelter and you don't have food and you don't have medical facilities, you'll be in trouble at that time. And the young people around you are too busy with their own lives that don't expect the way we are looking after our parents, our children will look after us. So we really wish to encourage them. Two, I would encourage the government to insist on saving. Like the NHIF, NSSF, those funds are too small. When you are retiring and you are getting 40 or 50,000 shillings at age 60, what are you going to do with 40,000 shillings at age 60? Three, plan where you intend to retire to. What do you intend to do when you have retired? Is that the time for you to go get a young lady? It's $1 million question. There are others who will tell you, yes, that's the time for you to be rejuvenated. The others will say so. My view, my point of view is different. I would say that is the time for you and your partner whom you have journeyed together. When you bought your first sandal, bought your first suit, and you have been together. That's the time for you people now to move together to your next level in life. However, I would urge the government to sensitize people as far as retirement is concerned. There's one big problem that we have also realized. When you retire and you are doing other things, if for some reason or another you exit, go to the grave, one of the biggest challenges families will have will be the issue of succession. You don't want to be in the grave and the children are taking each other to court. Over what? Over your properties? Or wives are taking each other to court. Over properties they never even helped. Or killing one another. Over properties they never even helped to generate. You struggled so hard. Divide it when you are alive. Let them know. My experience and unclaimed financial assets. You may find Amze has died. He has millions in the bank. But the children will not go to school because they cannot access those funds because of the succession cases. To get the grants is also a nightmare. To get the grants that so and so will administer this property is a nightmare. Can we sort it early when we are alive? Can we, if you are polygamous, bring your wives, tell them that is your land, that's your land, that's your land. I don't want to hear anybody encroaching on the other person's land. Your children, tell them exactly that. I don't want A, B, C, D. Make it clear.
When you are alive.
When you are alive.
Thank you so much, Mwandegu. That was Mheshimiwa Mwandegu spilling all the wisdom of many years. Thank you, viewers. Again, don't forget to subscribe. Just click the red button, subscribe, and be part of this great conversation. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, and it has been a pleasure being with you.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa.
And may God bless you.
Thank you.